want you to hit me as hard as you can.
For being based on a video game series that's been loved for decades thanks to its cast of colorful characters, expansive mythos, and insanely bloody, brutal gameplay, it's almost impressive how painfully dull the latest Mortal Kombat movie manages to be. Despite years of character history and world building to draw upon, director Simon McQuaid and his team have barely cleared the lowest possible bar to bring these characters to the big screen. By the end, even the most die-hard fans may realize that the last 100 minutes they've wasted a cavalcade of wooden characters, threadbare plotting, and minimally entertaining action could have been spent playing the game once again for an infinitely more satisfying experience. The shame of it all is, the movie doesn't begin with such a hint towards failure. Taking us back years before the bulk of the story takes place, a renowned ninja named Hanzo, who fans may know as Scorpion, loses his family to the villainous Sub-Zero, resulting in a slick fight scene that doesn't skimp on the gore and hints to a greater conflict for the rest of the film. But from then on, it's a perpetual slide down as we shift to Hanzo's far less interesting descendant years later, Cole Young, a fighter who has lost his prowess in the ring, but bears a mysterious dragon mark, thus making him of use to characters Jax and Sonya Blade, who pull him out of cage fighting mediocrity for the sake of helping them fight on behalf of Earthrealm in a mythic Mortal Kombat tournament. After a mountain of matter-of-factly explained exposition, Cole has no hesitance towards any of it, leaves his family behind, and joins their quest that brings them one after another towards another classic game character. This all leads to sandy fighting pits, where they kick and punch each other in hopes of proving they're not a bunch of lame asses with no superpowers, stopping only to talk very seriously about this, admittedly, very silly scenario. From a storytelling perspective, that's about as far as the narrative goes, meaning there actually isn't much of a story at all. None of the characters involved, whether it's the good guys on Earth or the bad guys from the alien Outworld realm, have any rhyme or reason for doing anything other than to battle over the Earth. The motivation on both sides stems from Earthrealm having lost the last 9 tournaments, the 10th time meaning Outworld gets to claim our realm. For the villains, it's like getting 9 punches on a card from your favorite sandwich shop, and the 10th one gets you a free sub. With that motivation alone, it's understandable why the beings of Outworld, led by the evil warlock Shang Tsung, would want Earth so desperately, because other than the prospect of free shit, there's no other noticeable motivation for the big bad or the goons that follow him. That thinnest of plotting and character development shines a light on McQuaid and writers Greg Russo and Dave Callahan's entire approach to Mortal Kombat, which is that character and storytelling don't matter as long as fan-favorite characters wearing game-accurate clothing show up and say things their characters may say in the game. Every plot beat where characters don't beat each other is driven by stale dialogue that readdresses how serious this tournament is, listlessly moving along until yet another character enters the fray. Once the major players are gathered, there's so many that none get the chance to have any other depth besides their basic attributes. Sonya Blade is tough as nails and seems to exist to be told there's nothing special about her because she doesn't have a dragon mark. The Aussie Kano only opens his mouth if it's to say something crass and prove a horrible person to be around. Game favorites Liu Kang and Kung Lao are both very serious and take the tournament very seriously. Thunder God Raiden is sort of the Nick Fury of the group and is very serious and takes the tournament very seriously. Most disappointing of all is Young, the character who is supposed to be the focal point of everything, hardly getting much to say, doing nothing but getting the crap beat out of him by everyone else in hopes it will unlock his secret power. His depth comes from having a family and nightmares visions of Hanzo, but all of that means very little, as none of it is used to truly explore him as a character and contribute to an emotional journey. Louis Tam, Jessica McNamee, Shin Han as Sung, and everyone else in the cast are left to hack their way through wooden, doom-laden dialogue, of which even a veteran cast would struggle to give any weight. Despite all these characters coming together like some sort of ragtag group of would-be super fighters, the lack of any distinct personalities outside of Kano's rampant boorishness means they're nothing but figureheads transported from game to screen. Even passionate fans will only have reason to care for the characters when and only they recognize the game character's moveset coming to life on screen, accompanied by whatever throwaway catchphrases they have, and all to an invasive score inspired by the classic game themes. While McQuaid understands that that's what fans came to see, so much of it feels tacked on and sometimes wildly out of place and out of character for how they speak before and after those moments. But still, a character drops a line, a box is checked, and it's on to the next. But hey, maybe you're listening to everything I'm saying and ignoring it because the only thing you're really looking for are epic kills. Bloody, intricate, explosive kills. Even then, I'm sorry to say, Mortal Kombat still feels like a letdown. Aside from a rather slick, bloody opening fight with bursts of CGI blood, you'll have to sit through another solid hour before more fights come along to satisfy your bloodlust. Oh, there are fights in between, even one with a random disappearing alien creature with acid blood. But no matter the scenario, fight scenes usually begin with a random character or creature showing up out of nowhere. Granted, when the bloody finishing moves do come rushing out during the sprint to the finish, they are gloriously vicious. But even still, it's gratuitous violence purely for the sake of it, because it's what people expect. Behind it all are no stakes, grace, or style in choreography to make it feel unique to the big screen. So much reliance is put on things looking similar to the game, that even during moments of brutality, nothing proves that this is an adaptation that can stand on its own. But for a movie that seems so reliant on making sure fans get what they want, I'm sure many fans may even leave disappointed. One reason has to do with the treatment of fan-favorite character, Sub-Zero, who graces the promotional material more than any of the more showcased characters in the actual movie. While getting a decent intro, the rest of the movie he's relegated to being a goon for Shang Tsung. Meant to show up wherever, whenever, being stoic and silent before unleashing some freezing powers. When it comes to Zero's much advertised fight with rival Scorpion, I will only say that those advertisements don't leave much room to be surprised. Made up entirely of beats designed to make fans go, I recognize that move, and that phrase, oh, and that move too. For those fans, perhaps it's all enough. And perhaps the filmmakers can act like they've succeeded by checking off every box on a player's wishlist. But Mortal Kombat made me wonder how exactly low the bar for filmmakers is when adapting popular video games into movie-going events. Is checking all those boxes proof of success? Or is it no more than cinematic copy-paste? Is that really doing justice to these characters and their world that fans love so much? True service to fans and the material would be exploring these characters with even a microcosm of depth, and then giving them a world to play in that feels as invigorating as picking up the controller and clicking play. On both those fronts, Mortal Kombat is an abject failure, a self-inflicting fatality that's far more brutal in experience than any bloody end defeated characters suffer here. My name's Matt Rooney with JoBlo.com, and I give Mortal Kombat a 3 out of 10. Thanks for listening, and tune in for more reviews at JoBlo.com.
First learned about this 7 years ago. On a mission in Brazil to capture a wanted fugitive. When we got there, it tore through our unit in seconds. The target had superhuman abilities. It had the same marking you do, Cole.
It's a birthmark.
What do you mean?
He was born with it.
It's not a birthmark, Cole. It means you've been chosen.
Throughout history, different cultures all over the world reference a great tournament of champions. That dragon marking? I think it's an invitation to fight for something known. As Mortal Kombat.
These are your champions.
I'm Sonya. That's Kano.
I'm Liu Kang.
Name's Jax.
Kung Lao.
Lord Raiden.
The fate of Earth is in our hands.
No matter how many of my people you put in the ground,
We will not fail.
kill them.
I am Sub-Zero. Get over here! Finish them!
Kano wins. You fucking beauty.
Listen carefully. Watch. Learn. Mortal Kombat has begun.
There's a war coming.
We need to fight before it's too late.
Finish them!
Mortal Kombat started as this very simple 8-bit fighting game that was revolutionary at the time. I liked the idea that we could bring these characters to a level that hadn't really been seen before. In the games, the fighting is brutal.
Fight!
And so you've got to hire these people that have that ability.
Excellent.
The fight scenes are epic.
It's mind-blowing what they do, really.
The fatalities are sickeningly violent.
Flawless victory.
But we all knew that we needed to cast some really amazing, talented people to make it feel real. Lewis Tan's an incredible athlete, incredible fighter. The guy worked so hard, it was just unbelievable. He just did not stop.
I come from a fighting background. Real martial arts to me is very similar to acting because it's all about expression.
There's so much fighting in this movie that a lot of times after shooting one fight, we need to practice for some other fight that's going to take place because we just don't have enough time.
I knew Joe was going to be Sub-Zero from day one. Joe's got that pure athleticism.
I made the mistake of watching The Raid a couple nights before we fought, and I go, I gotta fight this dude? I gotta fight that dude?
Joe was faster than everyone. Joe was too fast.
Joe was so fast, they had to ask him to slow it down for the camera. It was like two guys that's ever happened to. Joe Taslim and Bruce Lee.
A fight scene and a drama scene, they are the same. In a drama, you have the lines, but in a fight, it's just the agony, struggle, the pain, those are our lines.
You cast for what's in their brain, what they've learned over the years, especially with something like martial arts. It's impossible to bring someone up to his level quickly. That's just not going to happen. The same goes for Hiroyuki Sanada. They both have a very similar set of qualities in that they have a presence, they have a look about them.
We tried to make a contrast between Sub-Zero and Scorpion. A little mixture between game and authentic Japanese style.
Watching those two on set was one of the great privileges I'll ever have in my life.
Get over here!